Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Sergio. Sergio is from New York City in the USA. So let's see what Sergio has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello Sergio, how are you?
I'm excellent today. How are you?
Very well.
Uh,
Thank you so much for taking the time today for the interview. Thank you.
oh my God, thank you so much. I mean, I guess I should say thank you for like reaching out to me and like asking me. So I'm like excited, I'm nervous, I'm like all the things. So I was like, let's do it.
So tell me how's your day going so far?
It's good, I have some time before work. So I worked out, I had breakfast, and now I'm really just like getting ready to work. It's my what's today, the 20? Yeah, it's my last week of
Mhm.
work before I kind of take a 2 week break and then start back up again. So I'm really excited for 2 weeks of doing nothing and then restarting. So,
So, as you started talking about your work, so tell me what you do for work, for living.
I live in New York City, but I am actually a stage manager for a Broadway show. It's called Chicago the Musical.
Wow.
Um, So Tuesday is my last day there. And then I will have 2 weeks off, and then I start my next show, which is a brand new musical called Gun and Powder, which was opening in April. So yeah, I'll be taking 2 weeks off before that to do that as a transition period, if you will. So
Wow.
yeah.
So tell me, walk me through a little bit about your journey as a stage manager.
Oh my gosh. Well, I always have the exact moment that it clicked for me personally. So I was a sophomore in college in my undergrad career, and I had stopped performing because I was like, I want to do something else, but I didn't want to perform anymore. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was like, oh, I want to do something with management and theater. And so then I was like, oh, well, if I want to do management, I have to take business classes. So I switched over to business and I did business for a year. Absolutely hated it. Absolutely hated it. I think I did it for one semester. I lied. And I hated it. So I went back to my mentor in theater and I said, hey, here's where I'm at. This is what I want to do. I just don't know how to go about it. And she was like, have you ever heard of stage management? And I go, no, what is that? She gave me a synopsis of it. She explained it to me. And without even a hesitation or a question from me, she said, show up tonight. She said, you're going to be my second assistant stage manager for my show. She was like, rehearsals have already taken place, but she's like, but it'll be good practice. So I said, okay. And so I went to rehearsal. Right after that rehearsal, I knew that was exactly what I wanted to do. And I constantly praised her. I constantly thanked her, and I was like, thank you so much because this is what I love. And she unfortunately passed away 3 months later. But I took that as like, this was my sign, this was my path, and without her, I wouldn't be here. So I continued on through it. And she helped me meet somebody who helped me continue my education in graduate studies in New York City for stage management. And then the pandemic happened, and there's so many variables, so many what ifs, especially in theater, uh, at the beginning and towards as it was starting to lift up, as people were starting to ease up. But then I got the very, very distinct email of um, of asking me if I wanted to interview for a Broadway show, and I was like, "This can't be real! Oh my gosh!" And sure enough, it was. And sure enough, I got it. And it really has just like, that was like, oh my gosh, that's my sign. And then I think a month later, I got an offer to go on tour with a
Wow.
Broadway show. And so it was like, oh my gosh, like this is exactly what I'm this is what I'm supposed to do. And so ever since then, I've just been working, working, and working. I've been very blessed, very fortunate enough to continue to work in theater and doing what I love doing and doing what I tell people I'm meant to do.
Wow. I love the journey. I love how everything worked out and how your path crossed and you found your passion and everything worked well. It's amazing.
Sometimes it doesn't, but I always tell people, everything happens for a reason. And sometimes you have to trust the process. And who knows what that process is going to look like, whether it's going to be up, down, left, right, circles, but and one thing that I always go back is success is not linear, is like you have to have highs, you have to have lows, you have to go through the kicker and back to find your success. And I'm like, to find it so young, I think I think it's, again, it's a huge blessing for me. And, even during the pandemic, there were moments of like, should I switch my career? I don't know what's going to happen. But again, like my mentor, my friend was like, don't quit. It's not over. Just give it time. And it was always stuck with me, my parents, they were like, you should switch over. And I was like, no, I know that I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to make it. I gotta figure it out. And that's one of those, lows. And now we're here.
Amazing. My goodness, I love this story. It's so fascinating, inspiring at the same time as well. It's
Thank
great.
you.
Sergio, before we start our journey, so New York City is the place where you're born and raised?
No, I was actually born and raised in Napa Valley, California. And I grew up there. I went to school. I did my undergrad studies about 2 hours away from my hometown. And then, as I graduated and grad school was coming up, they were saying, if you want to make it, you got to move to New York. And even for as long as I could remember, I was like, I want to go to New York. I know that's where I'm supposed to go. Wow. But I didn't know what, and so it was like, I know I'm going to go there. I just don't know when, where, why, or how. And then, now we're here and we're doing it. But yeah, I grew up in California.
And all your family are back there in California?
Yes. So, well, my mother is, my parents did divorce. And my dad relocated to Houston, Texas. And so with that, my siblings all wanted to go with him. And so they all went to Texas. And so essentially my entire family, minus my mother, live in Texas. So my mom's in California still, and the rest of my family's in Texas.
Amazing. Okay, so during the interview, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your career and also about your life overall, okay?
Amazing, let's do it.
By the way, am I saying your name right, Sergio?
Yeah,
Sergio?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sergio, so before we start our journey, would you like to tell me something interesting about yourself or something that not many people know about you?
Oh, something that not many people know is that cumulative total, I have 14 siblings.
Wow. 14 siblings.
And there was a moment where 11 of us lived under the same roof. Yeah.
Wow.
It was a journey, let me tell you. No, scratch that. 10 of us lived under the same roof. So it was a journey, but yeah, I don't really tell a lot of people that. So,
Now you're sharing with the whole world right now.
I know, right? I'm like, I don't tell many people, share that with the world.
Oh my God, you're saying that, I just can picture like a Christmas celebration, a Christmas day. Oh my God, it feels like Home Alone, the movie.
Yeah. Yes, except nobody gets left home alone. It's like everybody's to our house, everyone's like, well, where should we do it? Oh, we'll do it at their house because half of the party is already there.
Oh my God. And you are one
Yeah.
of the youngest, the oldest, the middle?
I am actually in the middle. I'm a middle child.
Amazing, very good.
Yeah.
Sergio, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, when you put it that way, absolutely. Like, let's
Uh,
do it.
Amazing. Welcome to William in the Magic Box. So I've got here my best friend. Full of random questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
Beautiful.
Let's do it. Right, so before we start the game, during the join, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay, perfect.
First question for you is, what gives you butterflies?
Ooh, what gives me butterflies? The moment before a show starts, you know,
Wow.
you're backstage, you hear the audience, you hear them, you know, and whether I'm on stage, whether I'm, you know, backstage, you know, somewhere else, not on the actual backstage, I can always tell when the show's about to start because you hear just like the applause getting louder and louder because you know the show's about to start and that the lights are starting to come down. And that's when I get butterflies because I'm like, oh my gosh, we're doing this, we're live, no mess ups, you know, and if we mess up, we have to roll with the punches, you know, and so that, and just that feeling, hearing the audience, you know, and like seeing everybody backstage, everything come together and being like, let's go make magic. That, you know, as cliche as it sounds, that's one of the feelings that's one of the things that gives me butterflies the most.
The music, of course, the very famous musical you are working on right now, Chicago.
Yes.
Is every day or how many times a week it's so
So
on?
we have 8 shows a week. So we have a show on Thursday, we have a show on Friday, we have 2 shows Saturday, 2 shows Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then we get Wednesday as our day off.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Right. Next question is, who was your favorite teacher and why?
Favorite teacher? Ah, my goodness. Let's see. I would have to say my professor, her name was Dr. Katie Whitlock. And without her, you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. You know, and as cliche as that sounds, you know, she was the one who truly inspired me. She was the one who pushed not only me, but the entire department of theater, dance, music, everybody to be the best that they could be, no matter who you were, no matter what project you were doing. And that was something that I always admired. But yeah, no, without her, I wouldn't be on this path that I'm at now. And you know, I probably would be somewhere miserable, not doing theater. So I really have my friend, my mentor, Dr. Katie Whitlock, to thank for all of that.
Wow. And when you look back in your life, when was the moment that you realized, okay, I was born to be an artist, to work, you know, in the theater or as an actor, everything, all not in this, let's say, in these fields. There was a moment, or you kind of realized through the years?
It was when I was 7. My family had put me in my first musical, and I don't know, and you know, I don't remember all the details, but you know, looking back, feeling the adrenaline, feeling the feelings that I felt of like of being able to be myself, be free, have fun, but more importantly, not get judged for doing any of these things. I think that was definitely the moment when I knew. It was like maybe midway through the first rehearsals. I was like, this is so fun to do and I'm having so much fun. I love this and I want to do it. And then, you know, of course, a couple months later came my first Broadway show in San Francisco, California. And watching that, I was like, I'm doing that, but not the same show, but something different. And this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so I've been doing it ever since.
And did you have the support of your family regarding your career?
um, maybe not in the beginning. My dad is a Marine and my mother is a nurse. So so how did they come up with the theater kid? No idea. But you know, coming around to the idea, of course, is a little bit hard. But again, I had the passion. I had the this is what I was meant to do. Talk with my family, and you know, the more and more I was doing it, the more and more that they saw that I was being serious. You know, they were very supportive. You know, and my dad was like, "I don't care what you do, just give 110 all the time." And that's exactly what I did, especially in theater, because I loved it. And then, of course, you know, the pandemic hit, and you know, my parents were like, "Maybe you should switch it up." Da da da. And my dad was like, "I don't know," and I was like, "I don't know, Dad." I said, "But I feel this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm gonna make it. Just give me some time."
Mhm.
Um, and then again, the pandemic started lifting up, and then I got a call, I got an email, and they just kept rolling. And like I said, I was like, "Dad," I was like, "I told you, you have to give me some time." And again, they have not questioned it one moment since after
Wow.
that.
It
Yeah,
makes it makes such a difference when you have the support of your parents, and it make a big difference in our lives.
exactly. Because like I said, like it's like success is not linear. And I've had those moments where my parents were trying to not run me off course, but steer me in a different direction, you know, because they're looking out for the best interest. You know, they don't want me to fail, whatever. But again, like the 7-year-old Sergio knew that this is what he was meant to do. And he didn't know how he was going to do it, but you know, he's like, just convince other people and you'll do it. So like, you know, there was a couple moments where it was like, should I switch? But again, it was like, no, don't. And so we just continued to elevate it and just go higher. And you know, so now we're there. And again, we haven't looked back since.
Amazing. Right.
Yeah.
Next question, Sergio. Let's do it. Before the next question, as you can see, how much you love your job, how much you enjoy, you appreciate that. But what do you find most challenge as a stage manager? What's the flip side of it?
Oh, let's see. I mean, I will say, you know, there's a lot. You know, there's not a lot, but you know, every job has it. I
Mhm.
think it's really just, you know, I think it's the if it's a brand new show, I think it's truly just the rehearsal process. You know, it's going through the cumulative changes, you know, whether it's actors, dancers, costumes, sound, lighting, set pieces, standing around, taping the floor, untaping it, retaping it elsewhere. You know, it's a lot of tedious things that I personally that I'm like I just don't like change. I'm like once it's down, I'm like why do we have to fix it? It's perfect, you know. But then it's like oh, okay, and in the end, you know, you see all the magic that it is and you're like okay, it makes sense now. Like but in the like throughout the process, I'm just like why do we have to change this? Why do we have to change that? So, you know, just not getting frustrated and trusting the process more so. But I think that's one of the downsides of it is just basically moving all the pieces, rearranging, you know, all the puzzle pieces to make it all fit. And then in the end, when you have a completed puzzle, you look back and you're like, wow, that was a long process, but look at the magic, listen to the audience. It's always worth it in the end, you know.
Amazing. Okay. Next question is, do you consider yourself to be a spiritual person and how?
A spiritual person.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in terms of spiritual, I think for me, I think the only way that I'll go is like getting a sense of people's aura.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like whether I'm talking to somebody on Zoom, on FaceTime, or around them and I've never met them, I can get a good sense of people's aura and I can really tell if I'm really going to vibe with this person or if there's going to be something that makes me stop, take a step back, analyze the situation and like go from there. So it really just I think it just depends. But I think in terms of spiritual, I think I'm more so just an aura reading person. That's as far as I can go.
saying that, what's the best part of being Sergio? What's the best part of being you?
I cannot be replaced. I cannot be replicated.
I
You know,
love that.
I always tell people, like, if you know me, you know me. Telling somebody about me, I can't. Sergio is an experience. You know, Sergio is a vibe, is what I tell people. And it's like, like, it's either you know me or you don't. And I'm gonna like tell a little story that ties into it. But I was, I was on the dating apps. And I had actually matched with a friend on one of the dating apps. And we were talking, and he was like, give me some feedback on my profile, like, what can I do better? So I gave him some, and I said, what about me? Like, you tell me. And he's like, I don't know. He said, well, he's like, I don't know. He's like, maybe because I know you. He said, your profile doesn't match who you are in person. And
Ah,
I don't know how to put that in writing. I don't know how to put that on dating profiles. I was like, I think it's just like it's something you have to meet in person.
absolutely.
And truly, if I'm like speaking on the dating, all of my relationships, I've never met on a dating app. I've met in person, so it's like, Sergio is a vibe. Sergio is just a personality that you have to experience. But I think that's what makes me me, is that I can't be replicated. I can't be copied. I am one of one, as
Amazing.
Beyonce says.
Amazing. Next question. Let's do it. All right. Next question for you is, tell us about your best vacation and why you consider that.
Oh my gosh, my best vacation. I'm like thinking. I would have to say it was this past year.
Mhm.
I had just finished a national tour. I had just closed a tour um, after being on the road for 8 months, and I went to Arizona for a concert with five of my closest friends, and it was just immaculate. It was like, it was like the perfect way to just end such a, like, it was like, it's 8 months of tour, so there's going to be highs, lows, and all around. But to just be with my closest friends who I've known for over 10 years,
Wow.
and to just drink, relax by the pool, get tan, go to this concert that all of us love, and just be around each other and just, be spontaneous and do things. We were there for 5 days. The concert was one day. We were there for five. And so, to just be there was just such a fun time. And it was short, sweet, simple, but it was full of so many memories, so many good times. And I got a beautiful tan. So you can never complain about that.
Amazing. Ready for another one?
Yeah, let's
Let's
do it.
do it. Next one. Sergio, before the next question, I have a question in two parts. Yeah, the first part of the question is, it's just a curiosity from my side. When I go to see a musical, a play, I always keep thinking, my goodness, it looks so beautiful. It looks like they are doing for the very first time, and I know it's being on. They do, like, as I said, 8 times a week. It's a job. You are there literally giving your best, and you are literally, in front of a lot of people, just like looking at you, expecting the best. And I keep thinking to myself, my goodness, um, how is, like, for the experience? Tell me, how can you guys, like, you know, put a show like every single day or every single time, sometimes twice a day, with the same energy, like making people think that the very first time you are doing it? And the other part of the question is, of course, it's like like any other job. People can get sick. The main person can have something, out of expected something. Do you have, like, replacement people wait in the backstage, or in your experience, how does work that?
Yeah. So, to to answer that first part, how we keep it up, I think, I think that the common consensus, just from when I've talked with my friends in this business, other associates in this business, I think what for me, what especially too, what keeps the energy up is that, like, again, it's that first clap as the lights go down, but also, like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I want to give the best show, because yes, maybe it's our second show of the day. It's our 400th show since we've joined the show, but it is the first time that person in the seat is watching this show.
Right.
And so we want to give them the best experience possible, whether we've done it twice a day, whether we've done it 400 times, that person in the audience is who we're doing it for. And, of course, we have those moments where we're tired, we don't want to do it. And there are moments, and I can vouch for this, there are moments where the actors are like backstage getting ready to enter, and they're like, oh, let's do this. Da, 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 da. It's like, boom, you flip that switch, because that those people in the audience are watching you for the very first time. And just something about that is just glorious, hearing those applauses. And there are even moments during the show, where you have your normal applauses, your normal ahs, but there are those certain shows where you'll get the most random applause. And you're like, well, that's a new one, but I love it. It changes the game. It changes the energy backstage. It changes so exquisitely. But for me, and like I said, most of my colleagues, I think just knowing that there's a new set of people in the audience is what gets us to do it again and again and again and again. And whether they enjoy it or not, getting them to experience something new is quite magical. And then in terms of like coverage, we do have these things called swings. And so basically they can cover various parts in the show. So they basically have to know the role of 12 different characters. At any given moment, they can go on for that character.
Right.
And so they can go on mid-show, they can go on after intermission, they can go on at the top of the show. It really just depends on how they do. And then especially, just with COVID times, people, they had to be out for 7 to 10 days until they were clear to come back. Chicago was one of the first shows to come back to Broadway after the pandemic. It was actually the second show to come back. And, especially there, we had people that were who had done the tour, people from 3-4 years ago, people who had left to go start families, people who had left, we were calling them being like, hey, can you come back, learn this role just in case we need you? And, they'd be like, of course, yes. And so, there would be a moment where we would take our COVID test at 10 in the morning. Boom, somebody has COVID. Oh my goodness. All right, the swing is already on for this person. Our second swing is on for this person. Let's make some phone calls. Let's see who we can get in here. Let's rehearse them. Let's get them into a costume, and let's get them on stage by 7 p.m., 8 p.m. some days. And so and that's such an adrenaline rush too, because you're like, oh my gosh, the audience is getting a brand new show, but they have no idea that it is a brand new person that's doing that role. We do, but they have no idea. For them, again, this is their first time seeing this show, and so to see the changes, to see all of that, we have our wonderful swings, our wonderful standbys, anybody who is ready to go on at a moment's notice. And our swings and our standbys, they are, whether they go on stage or not, they are at the show every day, just like us, and they're ready to go, whether they're backstage running the show, watching somebody else during the actual show, or they're in their dressing room going over choreography, going over vocals, going over lines, anything that they need. Like, they are hard working their butts off to make sure that truly at any moment's notice that they are able to go on and not get sick.
Wow, I love that to say about people they're watching for the like people that you are aware that people they are there watching for the very first time, and it makes all sense. I got goosebump now because the eyes shining from people watching that. I'm sure.
Yes.
Imagine the energy you guys get it. The whole crew, everyone. Look, I'm totally full of goosebump now because the energy just like genuine and beautiful because. Trust me, I'll tell you something now. I used to work for Disney World in Orlando. Disney
Oh my
Cruise Line.
gosh.
So we had the induction, and then we spent like 3 days in Disney, get to know the parks and everything. And I remember going Magic Kingdom for the first time, and I remember like the show they do every night. And I remember watching it, and I was emotional. A lot of people around me as well. And I saw this member of staff passing by, and I was like, "Tell me something. Is it the first time they are doing this show?" He was like, no, 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 we do every single day. And I was like, oh my God. I felt like that was the very first show they were doing that night because it felt so real. It felt so perfect. And I'm sure it makes no sense what I'm just saying now. People, doing the show and work behind the scene and all of that, they are aware that the people they're watching for the very first time. And I think this amazing. I love that. Great.
Yeah, and there's even moments too, like just because of lighting, that we can't even see the audience. So we don't know until the very end of the bows, when everybody comes out to bow, we don't even know who's in the audience, how many people are in the audience, just because all the lights are shining. So we can maybe see like a couple rows and then, see people like popping out here and there. But otherwise we really don't know who is in the audience. And so it's like, and that's part of the fun too, is creating that magic for whoever is there.
Amazing. Next question is, what makes you the saddest?
What makes me the saddest? Oh.
If you can get sad because you are such a smiley person.
I don't like, yeah. I mean, minus all of the things in the world that are going on that I can't fix. Mm-hmm. I think one thing that definitely makes me sad is like not being like around my family. I'm such a family person. The way that my parents raised us, it was always family is the most important at the end of the day. And again, with all of them being in Texas and me being in New York, it's not an easy trip to, get there. My brother, he used to live in Virginia. And so during like the pandemic, I was able to like take the train down to him and, spend the holidays with him. So I wasn't completely alone, with my sister-in-law and my nephews. But yeah, I think like just being so far away and, there was moments where I'm like, I'm like frustrated with work or I'm like upset about something. And I'm like, oh, I just want to go to like my parents and I just want to eat a nice home cooked meal and just be surrounded by them. And I can't, and so I think that's one thing. And I have to plan the trips home. I have to plan the home cooked meals, and so it's like, it's a little sad there, but I think that's in this current day and age something that makes me sad for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
3 questions left for you. Let's do it.
Oh my goodness, let's do it.
All right, Sergio from New York City. Next question is, if you could ask for a miracle, what that would be?
A miracle?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. If I could ask for a miracle. This might sound cliche, this might sound crazy, but in an ideal situation, truly world peace. Mm-hmm. We have gotten so far from where we used to be in the United States and just in the country and in the globe. And it's like we are on this earth for a limited time. We should not be doing any of these things. We should not be living in a world where homelessness, where houseless, where people are going hungry, where kids, are afraid to go to school, where people are getting underpaid, where we just live in a world of hierarchy and we have people who have so much money that they don't know what to do with it, while there's people that are not able to pay their phone bill so their kids can eat or so they can eat. There's everything going on in the world right now too. It's just like, why? Again, like I said, we're on this world for limited time. We should enjoy the time, because in a blink of an eye, it could all be over. And then what do we have to show for? And so like I said, as cliche as it sounds, I think a miracle would truly be, world peace. There doesn't need to be any conflict. There doesn't need to be any hostility, any anger, any trillionaires, any billionaires. We should all live in an equalized society worldwide. Yeah.
I get your point, and I remember when the COVID hit and the whole world was, stopped. And I remember that after that, oh my God, I think nothing can be worse than that. And suddenly something came up again.
Something worse, yeah.
You had the same thing. Okay, I think that's the end. And suddenly another thing happened again.
Boom.
Yes, yeah. And as you said, it can be a bit tricky because, you never know, what can happen next. And sometimes you go like, my God, it's unbelievable sometimes. And, and people suffering, and you can go on and on. But I think I understand your answer. I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. Nowadays, the day we're living right now, it makes all sense, for sure.
Yeah.
2 questions left. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Right, before the next question, let's say you come to work, to start work, and suddenly someone come up to you and said, Sergio, we have this person here on the audience. Which person would make you like freak out? You go like, oh my God, I'm already nervous just knowing this person is there. Which person that would be that would freak out knowing this person?
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I'm so I'm backstage, so it's like I don't get that a lot. But I think if I were to have to say somebody, it would and it doesn't matter who it would be, but I think definitely the president or my parents. As crazy as that sounds, I think they're the same to me. It's like my parents, of course, you always want to make your parents proud. And so I'm like, everything's got to be perfect, everybody. Don't mess up. This is their first show that they're seeing. Make it perfect. Or the president, just knowing that they're there. And I'm let's make a good impression on them. Let's show them that the arts matter. And let's show them why the arts matter. Not just it's the first thing to get cut in schools, let's show them, let's make it a good impression on them so we can chat with them afterward.
Great point. Next question is, which person do you talk to the most?
My sister or my best friends. It's really a toss-up. My sister and we talk all the time. Like I said, I'm very family-oriented, so I just talk with my sister a lot. We FaceTime about everything. I actually was FaceTiming her before I jumped on this call. And we were just talking about my Nona. We love my Nona. No shade towards my Nona, but we love her. But we were just talking about her and life and everything, and what I was doing today, and doing all of that. And then definitely my best friends. I have a couple of them, but they're all of them minus one of them are in California. The other one is in South Carolina, and so talking with them and just always catching up. There's always so many things to do. And also they are 3 hours behind. And so being able to be like, oh, it's 3 o'clock. Okay, this person should be at lunch now. Let's call them and then them answering and, just talking for the entire lunch. I'm like, okay, well, I have to go back to work. And I'm like, okay, well, I have to go to work too. So call you later, or something like that. So I think those are for sure like the people that I talk to the most.
What's the name of your sister?
My sister's name is Kiani.
Okay, so Kioni is watching this interview right now at this moment,
Yeah.
and you have the opportunity to tell her something nice, to send her a message now. What would you say?
What would I say? Well, she would think that I was lying because I don't think we ever say anything nice to each other in a nice way. But to my sister Kiani, like, I would just say like, thank you for like being there for me, and like, thank you for being like the confidant that I can always go to, and I can, tell her anything and everything, and, not feel judged, not feel embarrassed, but knowing that she's gonna have the right thing to say as a big sister, and giving me the best advice that she can give, whether I want to hear it or not. I still love her for it, and I appreciate everything that she does for me.
Beautiful, I love it. Last question, let's do it. Before the next question, Sergio, through your career, tell me a moment or a situation that you're never gonna forget, that's always gonna have a special place in your heart.
A special place in a good way or a bad way in my heart?
Either way.
I have this one moment, and again, I still have feelings towards it, but we were on tour, and we were traveling to our next city, and it was Casper, Wyoming was our next destination. And we had already driven about maybe 3 hours from the nearest stopping point. So we were like at crossroads, basically. We had an hour to go and we had 3 hours to go back. And we were stuck because the road was blocked off. And because the roads were icy or whatever, and we had no idea what roads lied ahead. And we were on a traveling bus with 32 other people, and I was the assistant and my boss wasn't there. And so I called my boss and I said, hey, here's the situation. What do we do? She then called the producer called the venue called the producer back. So it was basically a bunch of moving pieces to try and figure out what was the best way to proceed. And ultimately, the decision was to proceed with high caution. And the goal was, if we got there, to do the show, but if we didn't, no show. Canceled, no show available, which I was absolutely like okay with. Me being the messenger, I passed along the message to the rest of the 32 people on board. And I got a lot of resistance. I got a lot of pushback. And I was just like trying to make light of the situation. We're in a very uncomfortable situation. We're marking an unknown road that's closed, but we see people coming from the other direction. So we think it's okay to proceed. So we have a lot of angry people on board, which I completely understood. And we proceeded, and it was a 45-minute drive. That 45 minutes turned into an hour 30 just for safety. And we got, we had made it to the hotel safely. And a lot of people were still upset. We had to do we did the show. My boss, got everybody dinner, and a little bit of a raise in that next paycheck. But a lot of people were still angry, and I think a lot of people were angry because I hadn't communicated properly what was supposed to be communicated. And I think people were under the impression that we we were driving to do a show, but we were not. We were just driving to get to a safe, secure place because we were physically stopped at a 4-pump gas station with a very small gas station with one bathroom that was graffiti, that was dirty, you know, and so it was like, okay, you know, and so like I said, like I could have done things a lot better, but in that moment it was just like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm trained to do, I'm gonna do it. And so then we had, you know, so we got there, and so I think a lot of people just didn't understand where I was coming from, and so a lot of people had, you know, hostility, had a little animosity towards me, and so I was like, oh, like, yeah, sorry guys, like I guess I should have communicated that, you know, and so, but again, we made it through. I think after I was able to explain it, and me and my boss, we were able to explain it to everybody. You know, a lot of people kind of calmed down a little bit. Some people were like, I understand, you know, where we're coming from. It's just the decision. And, you know, then it's something now that I look back on and I truly just laugh about. And I'm like, wow, like, I cannot believe that happened, that in Casper, Wyoming, this small little town, you know, we ended up doing that. But again, like that holds like always, and again, it's good and bad for various reasons, but it'll always hold a special place in my heart. And I don't know where that special place is in my heart, but it's there. But also to just have the support of my bosses, you know, being like, yes, Sergio should have communicated, but this is where we're at. Like, don't hold any grudges. Like, if we were going to do the show, we were going to do the show. If not, we weren't going to, you know, A, B, and C. And so I think that was, again, for various reasons, that's one moment that holds a special place in my heart. And also my Broadway debut. So,
wow.
two different things, two different stories. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Very excited. Yeah.
Last question is, what is the most beautiful thing someone has ever done for you?
Rented out an igloo on a rooftop with a surrounding, or with the background being the Empire State Building.
Oh
and
my God.
having this like private igloo with a TV monitor. It was the fireplace, but there was heaters in there, so it was warm. Having like a dozen roses on the table, and having like a bottle of champagne on there, my favorite champagne, let alone, and having this like amazing dinner that it was all a surprise.
Wow.
And all I was told was what to wear. And so that was like a very special thing to happen to me.
Wow.
And I was so caught off guard because that normally never happens to me. So it was very, very sweet. And I like cried, which I don't normally do. I cried. I was taking all the pictures, all the videos, you know, I was like, I have to document this, you know, the Empire State Building, you know, and it was just elegant, you know, it was class. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
Okay.
Let's start with money.
Money, fame.
Fear.
Fear, snakes.
Family.
Love.
Life.
Liberty and the pursuit of happiness.
Wow. One word for love.
Love. Family.
Sex.
Want.
Ooh. Religion. Okay. Politics.
Who needs that?
Friendship.
Needed.
Desire.
Appreciated.
Regret.
Never.
Success.
Open to interpretation.
Okay. Wish.
Every day.
Happiness.
You.
One word for California.
Immaculate.
I love that. One word for New York City.
Passion.
One word for theater.
Beauty.
And the last one now, stage manager. One word.
Hard worker.
Let's pretend I'm going to meet your lovely sister, yeah, for a coffee, and I'm going to ask her, define Sergio in one positive word and one negative word only. What should say?
One word to describe me positive is happy. One word to describe me negative is blunt/honest.
Let's play now, Sergio, and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. Right, you can ask me a question now.
Okay. My question, and I have a few, so if they've been asked already, let me know, and I'll go to a next one. But what is something in your life that you truly have the most passion for, and are you doing it?
Okay, I can answer that. I'm gonna answer that in two ways, yeah, two parts.
Yeah.
The first part is I love going to the cinema, to the movies, to watch movies. It's a therapy for me. It's a therapy. Who knows me very well, it's something that moves me. When I'm there, is let's say the time of my day that I completely forget what's happening out there, and I'm so focused with the movie. It doesn't matter which movie it is. So it's something that I'm very passionate about, and I every weekend I can't wait just to see what's the next. My shine when when they start the movie, because it's something that's gonna I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna enjoy. I'm gonna get into the emotions. And the other part of the answer, cliche but so real, it's doing the magic box. You have no idea. You have no idea, Sergio. As soon as not just when I'm recording, but as soon as I'm sending a message, like the same way I approached you, when I start the connection there, I'm already like over the place, because I'm talking to someone that I never met before, someone that I'm going to make memories, someone that I'm gonna connect, I'm gonna learn something. I'm gonna, so I think since the moment when I start the connection through message until we get here, it's already, my body's already like shaking inside, because it's something that's going to happen, So those two things are, I'm very passionate about, and who knows me very well, it's visible, because, and actually I go to the cinema on my own a lot of times, because I love it. I love it. It's something that's, if I go with friends or with someone, I like as well. Don't take me wrong. I love it. But at the same time, if I'm going on my own, it's the same experience. I love it. Until I'm going to share very briefly with you a funny story. A few years ago, I went to the gym, and the gym where I was going was literally next door to the cinema, the place. And I finished my workout. I was like, oh, I'm going to watch a movie right now. So I just went there. There was a movie, I started at the right time. So I got my tickets and I went to the movies. I sat down. And when I look around, I started to watch. I realized that there were just couples around. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening here? Guess what? It was Valentine's night. I was on my own, and I just realized afterward, I was like, oh my God. When I realized, I was like, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait just to leave the room, because imagine people think, what this guy is doing here alone? It was just trouble. But I didn't realize, just realized when I was there with my popcorn, I was eating my popcorn, and I started looking around. I was like, a lot of couples here tonight. And I was alone. So yes, cinema for me, it's a therapy. It's a therapy, like the same as the magic box. I just enjoy the most. Yeah.
I truly love that. That's amazing.
Sergio, did you enjoy the interview?
I did. I actually had like a lot of fun. Some of the questions like made me think, and so I was just like, I was watching a lot of the videos of yours, and I was like, okay, I kind of know what to expect. But then I was like, oh God, it's like when the video comes on, I'm like, oh my God, wait, what were some of the questions that he asked? So I was like, but I'm also somebody who just likes to have answers ready or have something ready to go.
Right.
But drawing that blank, I was like, oh, here we go. If whatever comes out of my mouth is gonna come out of my mouth.
Love it. I love it. Sergio, I need to tell you something. You were talking before about your friends saying that you are unique. You have this, this positive approach, this friendly approach, and you do. And I can feel that through the interview. And I'm gonna say something to you. When you send me this, when I approached you on social media and you send me this beautiful message, I literally took a screenshot and I kept because it touched me. I got touched by it, and
Oh my
I
goodness.
will keep it because I read like 3 times. I'm like, oh my God, what a beautiful message, to keep it, and it was so genuine. And I was like, okay. And when you say about your friends, when they refer to you and they say about you
Yeah.
having this friendly approach, and I can tell you, I can sign underneath the statement because it's so real and I can feel it. So thank you so much for taking the time and bring your energy to the show. It was amazing. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you, and thank you for that. That's like really like warms my heart and like puts me in like such a better mood. It's like so gloomy here in New York, so I'm like, having that, I'm like, I have that little cloud, but it's like a little sun just shining on me. So
Thank you
thank you
so
for that, and thank you for inviting me.
amazing. But before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Yes, and it's a quote actually, and there's two quotes that I just can't live without. If I got tattoos, I would get one or both on me, but I don't. The first one is, um, why fit in when you were born to stand out? I
Wow.
think that's so important is that we try as a society, we try as a world, everybody tries to fit in, but I'm like, everybody is uniquely different. And the phrase is everybody, not all body. It's everybody. Everybody is different. Find your niche, find your charisma, find your what makes you different and use it, whether you look different, whether you stand out. Again, why fit in when you were born to stand out?
Wow.
Stand out among the rest and be authentically yourself. Is exactly what I do. Um, and the other one is like never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. If whatever you are in charge of your own destiny. Whatever you want to do, you are 100% capable of. You have got to get rid of those voices in your head. You have got to get rid of anybody who doubts you, or you just prove them wrong so you can say, I told you so, in the end. But be kind. Be kind to everybody you meet. Be kind along the way. Everybody, including yourself, is fighting a battle that we don't know about. And so just be authentically you, but never be afraid to take that leap of faith. Never be afraid to jump to the next block. Never be afraid to, you know, stand out. You know, be yourself and be it authentically, and everything you do, give 140%.
Wow.
Because even if you miss 30%, you're still giving 110 every single day, and know that everything will be okay.
Wow. And
Yeah.
just add to your first quote, it feels so good being different. It feels so good being weirdo, not fitting anywhere, not fitting, the
Yes.
rules of society. I think it feels great. I think it's a gift when
Yes.
you are different. I think it's something
Yes.
about you. So embrace it, live, as you said, live it, embrace it because it's a gift. So live your gift, be
Yes.
your truly self. It feels great.
Eh,
Even though the voice out there can be quite difficult, quite be strong, but remember that it's great to be different. It feels great.
yes. And be yourself because everybody else is taken. So
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Regards to all your family, your friends, and you keep in touch, okay? It was a pleasure, Sergio.
Thank you, Will. You too. Please stay in touch. I can't wait,
Okay.
and I look forward to the future.
Take care,
Okay.
okay? Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.